You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Easley and Ryan Menley.
Hello and welcome. Missouri Western, home of the Griffons, summer home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Both football teams have combined 12-0. Coincidence, Brett Easley?
Certainly not. Something in that field out there. Andy Reid for president, Jerry Partridge for prime minister. I'd vote both of them czar, for sure. The Griffs have equaled their best start in school history. 6-0, now up to number 4 in the nation.
But now, starting now, the schedule gets absolutely nasty. A trip to Missouri Southern this week.
Bad things happen when the Griffons play the Lions.
You think so? Before we dive into that house of horrors, let's flash back to last Saturday's homecoming slaughter of Northeastern State. A festive Saturday at Spratt Stadium, the undefeated 6th-ranked Griffons squaring off against winless Northeastern State of Oklahoma on homecoming in St. Joe. There's the court, there's your queen, and there's your king, trading in the crown for the helmet.
Where's your sash? Are you too good to wear sash? I actually have the sash underneath my pants. I don't see it. I don't see it. Do you see it?
The Riverhawks bowing down to the king. Griffin's first drive, Travis Partridge, total rain. 22-yard quarterback keeper. Griffin's up 7-zip and far from finished. Couple minutes later, back in the red zone, Partridge to Alec Burbett. 24-7 Western now. The Griffin D has struggled in recent weeks. Now they took all their aggressions out in this game. Quarterback Thor Long, that's his name, the God of Thunder, struck by lightning. Nick Williams with the sack, the strip, and the fumble recovery all by himself. The very next play, Raphael Spencer looking like Flash, weaving his way through traffic, then goes all Superman on the Riverhawks. Western up 31-7 after the first quarter. These guys were tailgating at 8 a.m. Time to go sleep it off now. Meanwhile, everything going right for the Griffs. John Schmiemeyer channeling his inner Zerline. 54-yard field goal, money. Then Dom Thomas getting in on the scoring spree. 23-yard touchdown run for him. Griffs take a 41-7 lead to halftime. In high school, that would yield a running clock. In college, you just keep running the football. More from Spencer. He had 115 yards on just 8 carries. That's his second of 2 touchdowns. Western puts up 547 yards of total offense. They hold Northeastern to just over 300, and they roll to a 54-10 victory. The Griffins run their record to a perfect 6-0 on the season. That equals their best start in school history.
Oh, we need this performance every week. I mean, we played well, very efficiently. That's what we need to do. That's that we were ready to play, and we performed at the level I expect us to play every Saturday.
How does it feel to be 6-0?
It feels better than being 5-0.
It's just like the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think about that?
I think the Chiefs are great.
Okay, what do you think about Travis Partridge over there?
Oh, he's a nobody.
Hold that ball.
I will hold that ball.
Home and away.
Always.
Joining us now, Jerry Partridge. For those of you who don't know, that was Jay Summers. He's been around a long, long time. Everybody in St. Joe knows Jay, so you...
He's always wanted to be on the show, hasn't he?
Forrest Gump.
Yes.
He is Forrest Gump.
He is a Forrest Gump of St. Joe. Hey, let's talk about your football team, though. Defensively came to play. You allowed just about 300 yards of defense, and that was it. And I think 87 of that came on the very first drive. Aside from that, you shut Northeastern down. 4 turnovers. That's performance defense kind of needed, wasn't it?
I think probably half of it was the first drive, and then the last half, or whatever it was, between the first drive and the very last drive against our, some cases force and fists.
Offensively, another 500-yard day. But when you look at this one was balanced as well. You ran it well, you threw it well. Pretty complete game on that side of the ball, too.
I think when we want to be balanced and we have to be balanced, that's when we are. I think sometimes we get skewed a little bit with our rushing stuff because we're trying to melt games away and get it over with, and we're running football.
I want to ask you about another guy who I think is playing pretty good, and I think you knew he would, but it seems like it's come to light because of an injury. We know Derek Libby's not a backup. He's played a lot. He's playing a lot. He's playing pretty good, isn't he?
Very good football player. He's made some great catches. In fact, he was our offensive MVP. The team voted for him, or the coaching staff put him up as offensive MVP. You could have made Travis a case for Travis. You could have made a case for Raphael, but we felt like his 4 catches a couple of them were very big catches. The one was a huge catch. We were backed up, made a great job coming back on underthrown deep ball, and made the play. I mean, he's a good football player.
The first half of last year, before you went on the ridiculous run to get to the quarterfinals, you were still winning up until week 7, but 6 weeks and you were winning, but you weren't really putting teams away. It just didn't seem like that. And again, comparing apples to oranges a year ago to now, but this year that does seem to be the difference. You're putting teams away right now.
The last 3 games, for sure, we've put them away. There hasn't been any drama in the fourth quarter. Both Oklahoma schools last year, there was fourth quarter drama. Hayes, there was a little drama just because it was 21-3 last year down in Hayes. Kearney, there was really no drama, but this year there was, so that game kind of flipped. But, it's hard to tell, like you said, apples to apples, oranges. I mean, you can't compare it really. I mean, I'm pleased. We're pleased as a coaching staff how we're playing right now. I think we're playing pretty good football. We're going to need to play good football down the stretch here, and we've had 6 football games. We've won as many as we can win in those 6 football games, and now we need to take that next step and get to 7-0.
Were you ever homecoming king?
I don't think I was ever up for it. First of all, in my day, there weren't homecoming kings.
Okay, just
You're
queens.
just on the court.
Queens. Just queens.
Okay.
So you can live vicariously through your son who's home. That's a proud moment.
Oh, I'm incredibly proud. I think every father wants their kid to be homecoming king.
I just wish he would have sat on the stage in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, he couldn't.
He didn't get to.
He should have, but let's.
Game was in hand at the time.
Let's get off that. Let's talk about Missouri Southern. That's the big game this week. We'll talk about the Lions and that strange showdown. Seems to be strange every year. We'll talk more about that next.
Now David Bass is going to sling him to the ground, his second sack in this football game.
Spinal sport treatment with Fred, his methods are extremely different from anybody I've ever been with because he takes your injury and breaks it down to a T. I came here right after I had my bone spur surgery for my left foot. He broke my body down, so he kind of went in and took it step by step from my hips down to my knees, to my calves, to my ankles, and fixed everything. I recommend Spinal Sport because of Fred. He has a passion for his athletes and getting people back to where they need to be.
Power equals 2 times the gravitational constant times mass over the radius from the center of mass.
What'd you say?
Train like the pros and jump.
After a 6-0 start for the Griffins, the MIAA terrain now begins to get a tad bit rough. To go 7-0, Western will have to go through Missouri Southern. History has proven that to be a very difficult task. The Griffins have lost 3 of the last 4 meetings to the Lions, including a 31-30 defeat last year in St. Joe. It was Western's only regular season loss. No team this early decade has had more success against the Griffs than the team from Joplin.
This week, we really got to focus on doing our best and changing that because we need to start a new streak where we're getting 5 out of the next 5 starting this year because it shouldn't happen ever again.
Yeah, ever since I've been here, it's been one of the tougher teams that we've ever had to play. It seems like every year they just have our number for some reason.
I don't know, honestly. I just feel like sometimes we lose our head against those guys.
I mean, anytime a team beats you the year before and you know they shouldn't have, then we've had this circled since off season.
I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't looking forward to this game. I mean, it's kind of circled on our calendars a little bit, and they're a good squad. They're a good team, and we respect them, and we can't wait to play next week.
Stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em, stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em, gonna put the beat.
Well, it's time for another award-winning segment of Beatboxing with Bo. Griffs are 6-0, ranked 6th in the country and rolling. They're heading south to Joplin this week. And Bo, excited for the start of basketball season, supporting our teams. Practice started this week, but back to the task at hand. And Bo, Griffs hadn't had a lot of success against Missouri Southern over the last 4 or 5 years. The Griffs have lost 4 out of 5, but you know what? Things are going to change this year. I've got a feeling, and I can't wait to hear your prediction. You're going to pull us through. What's it going to be?
I'm not feeling it this week. Missouri Southern pulls the upset 35-24.
What?
There'll be no total pain this week.
Bo, I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. You can't do that. You've never done that. You've never picked against the Griffs. That's not part of it. And Mike's is also going to need his belt back, by the way.
You tell Max if he wants his belt, he needs to come pick it up himself. And I'll give him some total pain.
Well, that's unprecedented. No bulletin board material this week. You can't get on that bandwagon. Now you can just get mad at Bo for picking against you.
What is he Bo knows. Bo knows.
Well, I hope he doesn't know.
Last year he picked us to win 3-2.
2-0.
I thought it was 3-2.
Maybe it was 3-2.
But
Southern got off the bus and forfeited.
But I also heard Southern at the end of the game chanting that score a little bit, so they saw it. So.
Okay, so now they're going to see that they get a chance to win. Now your guys can get.
Bo's crafty. I think Bo always has. He's always trying to motivate and help, and I think he knows.
Bo's going to take a lot of flack in the lunch line this week.
I think they're going to put his T-shirts off down there now. Probably.
Maybe.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Okay. Heard some of the guys talking about the issues with Southern. Just sometimes, Michael Jordan said sometimes we just lose our heads schematically. It just seems like because they are so different. What's the coach's thoughts with just the issues, the mental block that it's been?
Well, it's been different. All 3 times we've lost in the last 4 years has been different. Now, every time we've taken a lot of good teams down to Southern and barely came out with wins. Our 06 playoff team, we had to score with 50 yards out.
Fourth down conversions to win that game in the final
it's
seconds.
It's just a different kind of place to play. The field is so far from the stands. There usually is not a great crowd. I imagine it'll be pretty good this Saturday just because they're playing well. It's a different scheme now. It was, the triple option, the 3-3 stack stuff. They've been 3-3 quite a bit down through the years with different coaching staffs too. But, we didn't play the pitch very good last year. We didn't play some of the pass routes very good. I think we defended the dive and the quarterback pretty well. There's been crazy things that happen where we turn the football over at key moments. We don't finish drives. We make some mistakes here and there. Certainly,
thunderstorm delay that delays the game, and
the last 2 games here have been eerily similar. We've had some leads and had chances to really put it away and didn't do it, and they've come back and rallied and scored in the last 2 minutes to win it. The one we actually beat them by 12 points there 2 years ago, and the last loss there was a 23-6 game in the rain, and we just played awful.
You mentioned it, though. The one difference in this game against some of the past games, this is a 5-1 Missouri Southern team. This is a Missouri Southern team that obviously if they play well down the stretch as well, they're going to be there in the end. Does that change things mentally at all?
I think just the fact that they beat us has our attention, no doubt about it. They were 4-2 last year. They're still a pretty good club, and we're in it last year too. So they were playing for something, and they left here 5-2. Certainly now they're one of those teams that's in the mix to be in the playoffs as well, and so they're playing for something. They're going to play hard to do every time against us. I'm hoping we catch them a little bit overconfident against us, maybe. I mean, that's what you hope. Our kids are going to play hard, and the biggest thing is through the week we want to focus in on just getting ready for their schemes, especially on Tuesday, preparing our game plan implemented and fitting on what they do, and then maybe by the end of the week you start motivating a little bit, but I don't think we'll have to.
We're not going to go through a midseason report card, but I'm just curious about a couple of things. What's one thing you see right now moving forward that we've got to get better at? And then on the other side of that coin, something we're doing right now that maybe in week 1 you were questioning, but we're doing pretty well.
I think the things we're doing well, I felt like we were going to do well anyway. I felt strongly about our passing game was going to keep getting better as the year goes on with more experience. Pass pro-wise and catching it. I always felt like we had a bunch of good running backs. So we got kids that can run the ball. Travis is a proven player. Reggie's a proven player. We knew those were going to be good players. The thing that I'm more alarmed with a little bit is we're giving up scores on the first drive a little too much. I like to see that stop. And in the past, certainly last year, we played great defense early and maybe had some lulls later. Right now, we're just not, for whatever reason, we're just not right off the bat tuned in or tied together. We're making some mistakes early, and you know what? Maybe the other team's just executing really well that first drive too.
I got a lot of phone calls last week because many people noticed that the tantalizing trio wasn't in the show.
Still got in with the volleyball coach. We only get one in at a time.
Okay, that's right. But you know what? This is the 6-0 edition.
Yeah, 6-0 with Max.
6-0 edition. Max is in. Be curious to see some of his hand signals to these questions as well. So 6-0 edition.
He makes me very nervous.
Coach P.
Me too.
Chiefs are 6-0. When is it going to end? Are they going to win them all? When are they going to lose?
They're going to lose in Denver.
They're going to lose in Denver.
Possibly in Buffalo, too.
Possibly in Buffalo. Okay. I wouldn't disagree with either of those. Do you know the Missouri Tigers are 6-0? Does that surprise you?
Yes, very much so.
Yes, they're going to survive with the backup quarterback in there.
No, they won't.
No, they won't. And finally,
I'm pulling for them, though.
And finally, because we have more time due to those short answers, better 6-0 team, last year's Griffons or this year's Griffons?
I cannot make that call, nor do I want to offend anybody. So it's just different. I think last year's team had a lot more experience at the start of the year and throughout. This year's team, a lot more youth, a lot of kids are going to be coming back. There are some seniors that are, in pivotal spots that we count on heavily, and I want it bad for them too.
Bo picked Southern to beat Missouri Western. What's your thoughts on that?
Boy, I don't even. He stole your belt too, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what I
okay.
thought.
Good.
Well, let's do one thing last year's team didn't do. They didn't go 7-0.
Yeah, we didn't go 7-0.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
We'll see
Funny,
if Joplin Mo.
You ranked 4th in the nation last year when you were trying to go 7-0. You ranked 4th in the nation this year trying to go 7-0. Get it done this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be okay. That's Jerry Partridge. We'll be right back.
no win. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and it is certainly long enough, and it is certainly perfect. Another field goal by Greg Zuerlein. He is now 5 for 5.
The most helpful physical therapist in the world on field goal kicking.
When the game's on the line, there's no one better than Zuerlein.
Zuerlein's kick is long enough, and it is good enough.
Train like the pros, my friends.
Sometimes I wonder if Elvis had hip pain. And if he did, I know I could have fixed it. And if I did, he'd still be alive today.
Missouri Western Volleyball continues to roll. The Griffons have now won 5 in a row. Their record now 11-10 on the season. They'll return to MIAA play this Saturday at Central Oklahoma.
You know, it's a process. I mean, we feel like with this group we've got a chance every night, so we try not to focus on what's happened in the past. We just try to focus on moving forward with this group and the talent that we've got.
Welcome back. Marion Carbon's team having success in spite of injuries.
Well, they have. Meanwhile, soccer coach Chet Edwards has watched injuries destroy his success.
Yeah, I think our kids deserve better.
Griffons have scored just 1 goal in their last 7 matches and are 0-6-1 in that time period. They have lost 5 starters to various injuries during that stretch, including top 2 scorers, Katie Kemp and Tara Russell. Both out for the season with torn ACLs. Hopes were high to start the season, but the Griffons have been crippled with terrible luck.
You ever seen anything like this, just where it's like domino?
I haven't. You know, in the course of 3 weeks, to lose 2 kids to season-ending injuries, and then in the meantime lose 3 or 4 others to extended period loss. That's tough to overcome. I've never seen it in the course of my coaching career, and I don't think any other coach has faced this either. It's been tough, but you know, like I said, the mindset's good, and we just got to continue to grind, and we'll be okay.
We just know we have to stay positive and keep playing for each other, because that's all we can really do at this point is just keep working together to hopefully get our first conference win this weekend.
While soccer tries to get back on its feet, basketball season takes flight.
Yeah, hoops practice officially began this week. With it, a new era and a next step. New coach Brett Weiberg takes the reins of the Griffon men, while second-year coach Rob Edmondson debuts a new-look women's team. 10 new faces make their debut in that program, a program that returned to its winning ways a season ago. The Griffons are coming off a 16-12 campaign in Edmondson's first year. Doesn't plan to take a step back in year 2.
I think expectations are high.
So we did bring in 9 new girls, 3 freshmen, and 6 transfers, and we just have a lot of new faces, a lot of new body types, just a completely different style of play.
We have 17 right now on the roster. We do have depth, we do have numbers. We've added a lot of size to our program in terms of our post play.
We got 6'3", 6'2", another 6'3". I'm 6 foot, so we do have a lot of size. This is my first time ever being a small one. Like, I feel short around them.
We will play a true post player in our 4 and 5 spots all night long, where last year we were pretty small. The thing that I'm hoping for is more consistency in our shooting. I think last year defensively we played with a lot of energy, created a lot of turnovers and steals, but we didn't convert some of those, which made, every game was a close game. Whether we won or lost, it seems like every game was coming down to the wire, which has become stressful. So I'm hoping we can be more consistent this year offensively. We'll be a different team defensively a little bit because we do have the size in the lane this year where I think we can alter shots and affect rebounding better.
We're clicking slowly already, surprisingly, but I feel like we have a good even balance on post and guards. I feel like it's going to be hard for some teams to keep up with us.
It's going to be amazing once we get in sync with each other.
In terms of getting from where we were last year, 16 to 20 wins, 21, 22 wins will be a lot harder than coming from 6 to 16. Just from a standpoint that those wins now are going to have to come against teams that are probably going to be rated in the top 10 in the country.
We'll talk men's hoops with new coach Brett Weiberg next week. GSI will be right back.
I am your aquatic therapist. My job is to control the current. Bulging disc, no pressure.
really want to get better faster, you have to work in water. I'm Ian Hessemeyer, and this is Spine and Sport.
The most helpful physical therapist in the world on neck pain.
I can fix it.
Spine and Sport. Stay healthy, my friends.
All right, we're ready for test number 6, the functional movement screen. This one's called the trunk stability push-up, a great test measuring core control. We got Dalton here on the ground. He's in a prone position. We put this bar at his head to demonstrate how we're putting him in a starting position of thumbs overhead, which really is going to demand a lot more from his core. So Dalton now is going to go up into his push-up position. As he does that, we're looking at the spine angle. He comes back down. He's going to come up one more time. Great core control because it's those abdominals that are helping maintain that spine angle. Dalton's going to score a perfect 3 on this test. Tells us that Dalton's got a really strong core, and that core is an important part of injury prevention. That's our goal with the functional movement screen. Train like the pros at Spine and Sport.
I met Gerald in 2010. He came to me after an injury he sustained in Afghanistan back in 2008. And he described to me as he was in his Humvee and got blown up by a roadside bomb, and that he broke his back, he broke his hip, separated his shoulder. Working with a Special Forces soldier, to think about the demands that he's got to go through. It's a whole nother concept of training like the pros.
So I've had really good progress. But it's been amazing, especially coming up here, working, utilizing the pool for the buoyancy factor, especially at the beginning, to kind of help the actual healing process. I've kind of transitioned from actual mobility to stability, and lately onto strength and resistance and cardiovascular training.
And it took him 2 years and multiple surgeries, but it was fun to see him go from broken to back in the Special Forces doing what he does best, and that's serving the country. And he was a great inspiration to all of us to see him go through that transformation.
Welcome back. We got time this week for role play.
Yes. Is that like once a month?
Yeah, it's a couple weeks off.
We just
got a lot of stuff in the show.
Well, we do.
We need to get going.
A lot of good stuff.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Who am I
Brett, easily this
what
week.
What Chiefs figure am I this week?
Well, it is a Chiefs theme. You are former Chiefs theme. You are former Chiefs GM Scott Pioli. Yeah, get yourself ready. Get your hair slicked. You don't have any hair on the top of the head. I'll pick up the wrapper off the top of the floor.
Would you please?
Let's talk about you. You won 2 games last year. You got fired.
Not my fault.
Now you're doing TV broadcast. You hated the media, which doesn't make any sense.
I don't like
but you know what?
either.
That team, 6-0 now. What was wrong with you? Why were you so bad?
Well, you know, it was the people that around me were bad. I couldn't hire any of those people. I was tied up. My hands were tied. It wasn't my fault.
Who was tying you
I've
up?
never done anything wrong in my entire life. I know football. I got the right 53. They just didn't do their job. No, I did a horrible job. I'm doing what I need to be doing now. Thank goodness somebody else is in there running that franchise, because you know what? The Patriot way only works one place, and that's in New England.
Only works with one person.
And only one person, 2 people.
Tom Brady.
Bill Belichick's
I'd give him
not
over
bad
time.
either.
Yeah, okay, my turn.
Hey, Ryan Minley.
Yes.
Chiefs theme against
Yeah.
somebody not with the Chiefs anymore.
Yeah.
You're Tony Gonzalez.
Oh,
Is
I'm
this
6'8"
a goofy,
and good
way
looking.
out there whim that people are talking about you being traded back to the Chiefs? Can that happen?
Well, I
You wanna do
said
that?
publicly that I didn't want to trade, but you know what? Privately, I want to come back to Kansas City. I never wanted to leave Kansas City in the first place. You know why I left Kansas City in the first place? 2 people.
Stunk.
Well, no, before that, Todd Haley, Scott Pioli.
Yeah.
I didn't want any part of them.
Gonzo.
You know what? I'm still the
I took
best
my
tight
camel
end.
hair blazer out of town so you can come
I'm
back.
still the best tight end in the league. I should have retired last year, but didn't need to. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to get in the playoffs. I want to win some playoff games. You know what? I can do that with the Chiefs this year. I could never do it before. Hey, welcome back, Max Griffin. Appreciate to see you. Where's your
he's
pink?
back. Where's
You're
your-
not wearing
oh.
pink. I'm wearing
Didn't get
pink.
the
You're
memo
not
again.
wearing pink
Guess you
either.
didn't read the cue cards.
It's Pink Week this week.
Oh, you got pink on. That's your pink
did.
tie. I wore my pink tie
Week.
last week.
Yeah.
You know what?
It
Fifth
wasn't
grade-
Pink Week last week.
It wasn't Pink Week. October 18th through 26th, we've got 2 soccer, 2 volleyball games during that time. We're trying to raise $1,500. We're selling Pink Week t-shirts again for a minimum $5 donation. pink ribbons for Adele. You're taking all this down, Max. Maybe you'll learn next week. Yeah, thank goodness. You know, like I mentioned, we got a $1,500 goal. We donate all the funds to the Heartland Auxiliary Breast Center, Heartland Regional Medical Center. We've raised about $4,000 in 4 years. We're trying to raise $1,500 this year. So come on out. Again, a couple of soccer games this week, a couple of volleyball games next week. And let's get rid of all of our shirts and raise funds for a good cause.
It's a great cause. I'm glad you guys dressed for the part this week. I really appreciate you coming in and being prepared for it.
It is his show. So
that is
living in your world.
That is GSI for this week. Let's get a win over the Lions and
wear gold, wear pink, and as always, go Griffs.